Parallel Frequencies with just Blane and Coco and all the freaks out there. And guess what we got going on today? Something special, Coco. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Fridays are my favorite. It feels like, okay, we're getting into it. Let's go.
And we do Feature Friday where we pick a movie or something that maybe you haven't seen. Maybe it's new, maybe it's old. But now that we've got some engagement from our freaks out there, we said, you know what? It's time to throw something new at you. We're still going to do Feature Friday. We'll get to that movie here in a little bit. But what I want to change it up to right now is Freqy Friday, okay? Freqy Friday. This is for the freaks. And we're going to go through some of the comments we've been getting on our content. I can't believe people watch this. Can you?
I would hang out with us.
I would.
I mean, come and hang out with us. But we love connecting. Like, we're always saying, like, let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments and, you know, discussion questions. And we're always kind of getting into it with these discussions about these movies and shows that we're digging into. And so I'm excited for an opportunity to connect with all of you out there.
We've been saying comment and, you know, do all that kind of stuff. And I didn't think anybody would actually do it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think anybody would, you know, watch this, listen to us, talk to us. But we're going to actually go through, and I screenshotted some of these comments that we've been getting from the freaks out there, and we're just going to go through them. And I don't know what they are. We're just going to respond. We're going to react. You know, there might be some bad ones in there, but let's get to them and see.
That's all right. I don't mind.
That's okay. I'm not upset about this. Here's a good one though, right off the bat. This at Patrick JJ5NH says, I always remember this movie. He's talking about Coherence because it's the first and only movie that for some reason gave me a genuine panic attack. It was mild, but I managed. Thought about it way too much, and I wasn't even high. And I was like, you know what? I know the feeling. I said it right here. I know the feeling. And he even commented back and said that our interview with Jim Burkett, was very wholesome. Thank you for doing that.
Aw.
And I love that because I want more guests like James Ward Burkett to come in here and talk to us where it's not a press run. It's just a conversation. That's what we did with him. If you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. Coco, that's one of your favorite moments we've had so far, I believe.
Yeah. I love when it's just a discussion because it's just, you know, we love discussing movies. That's why we started this. We just love discussing the plot, the meaningfulness of it, the artistry, the acting. I mean, just getting into it is so fun. But to talk to the director and get some of that other side of things was incredible. I loved that interview. I would do more of that for sure. And sorry I gave you a panic attack because I totally get it.
We didn't give it to him. Yeah. It was the Coherence movie itself that gave him the panic attack. So it's not Parallel Frequencies.
Not us.
Fault.
We're here to help you through your panic attack. We're here to help you ground and come back to us on Earth here, right?
Yeah. And Patrick went on to say the news you got about the potential sequels, fantastic, very excited. The notion of a discontinuity supervisor was genius. So if Jim Burkett's watching, that idea is still on the table, buddy. Hit me up. I'll come in there and be the discontinuity director and move stuff in the background so nobody knows. Let's get to the next comment here. Talking about the halftime show here. I called it. And this guy says, at R. Stemple says, I don't understand Italian and I still hate opera. It wasn't good. That's wrong. I don't understand Italian. I don't understand the Italian, and I don't like opera either. But I don't understand all of the Latin music, but I love that Super Bowl halftime show. It was incredible. So
okay, but have you ever seen a performance in any way, shape, or form, in any art form, where there was no talking at all needed for you to understand the heart, the soul? I saw some pantomime scenes when I was judging the regional high school thing that made me cry, made me tear up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just take into consideration that it's not really about that.
I'll make one final statement. I don't think it's ever about the language that's being spoken, sang, rapped, or whatever. It's the feeling it gives you. So opera music doesn't hit me, but Latin music does, and I don't understand either one of those languages. So
Yeah.
next.
But can you respect that? Can you respect
I
it?
totally respect it, and I get it, and I don't knock any
I
creativity
can
out there.
too. Some people can't.
So we put a video out about authenticity, ruffling feathers. We got a comment. Yes, I agree. That's it. I love that one.
Okay.
Did you? I didn't know about this. It says we put out a clip about Daria. You mentioned Daria one time, and there was a Beavis and Butthead spinoff, and somebody said, "I'm still bummed the reboot was canceled." Are they talking about Daria? Was there a Daria reboot in the mix,
Well, I don't
and we didn't know
know.
about it?
See, I'm not here for a Beavis and Butthead reboot, but I am all in with a Daria reboot.
I think the world needs a Daria reboot right now.
She has my heart. Yeah.
All right. So we put out a clip here, and we got this comment right here. And I wholeheartedly agree. And we got numerous comments that are very similar to this, but this has got to be the best one. Y'all should really think about including the title of what the fuck you are talking about in your shorts. I agree. And we have now started doing that. So
Yeah,
we've started
thank
putting
you
the movie
so
title.
much for that feedback, because 100% right. Yes.
Yeah. So we have done that for the freaks out there so that you do know what movie, TV show, whatever we are talking about. Just know that most of the clips come from a full episode. So you might see something out of context. Go watch the full episode to figure it out. Here's another one we put out, and somebody said, please stop trying to have higher philosophical thoughts. You're not very good at it. Now, let me tell you something. We're not here to give you groundbreaking philosophical thoughts, okay? So that's not what we're portraying ourselves to be. Look at me right here. Do I look like a philosopher?
Hey, don't judge the packaging is all I'm going to say about that. I think
Absolutely.
that anybody is capable of higher philosophical thoughts. But I will say, I'm not always eloquent when I speak, and I can't always get the thoughts and feelings that I'm having about something out my mouth in just the right way. So I'm working on that, and you've got a point there. So I'll work on that. But the higher philosophical thoughts, that's just more of that coming.
Yeah. At
That's what I'm all about.
SNX Radio, at SNX Radio, called us a couple weeks ago, and she said fantastic and subbed, and we subbed to her, and I love what she's doing over there too. You got to go check her out, give her a follow. She's got some great content too. We put out the Black Phone 1 and 2, but at the beginning of that episode, we talked about Costco's maple syrup, their 55-gallon drum of maple syrup, and at AI Goose Talk says, I did not come here for maple syrup. I get it. But let me tell you something else. A lot of other people did. We had like 80 comments about the Costco maple syrup. There were people in the comment section breaking it down, doing the math, trying to figure out if this was a good deal or not. So,
yeah.
Sorry to at AI Goose Talk for disappointing you. I mean, we only talked about it for about 2 minutes, and then we did get to the Black Phone. But there were other people who were interested in the maple syrup conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know what I think people are here for? They're here for hanging out. They're here for camaraderie and belonging, and that's what we're creating for you. So, you know what people do when they hang out? They talk about what they saw at Costco.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We did another episode where we talked about Breaking Bad and Night of the Seven Kingdoms battling it out. Because the IMDb thugs out there were getting crazy and they're trying to tank each show. So we had some great comments on that. Comparison is the thief of joy at Blair Flights. And then we got at Orvasic. Bro, what is wrong with 2 top-level episodes? It is better for us fans. Why don't people understand there is no need for bloodshed? I agree.
Yep, 100%.
We can like Breaking Bad, Ozymandias, that episode. We can like Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the episode in that was a 9.9 or a 10. We can like both of those and don't have to bash the other one. Am I right?
Right. Yeah, you're talking to somebody who's the least competitive person you probably will ever meet. For that very reason. It's the thief of joy, right? I'm like, how could 2 things that are totally different be competing against each other for something? So all is great. Everybody gets a reward. Everybody gets an award. Everyone gets a medal. I'm good with all that.
At Grum Beard commented on one of our trailer park podcast, Womanica, and said they would love to know more about Golda Meir. Now, I'm not familiar with Golda Meir. Are you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, then maybe I'm interested now,
That's
too.
a request. A request we'll take into consideration. Do our research.
And I don't know if that's
pull that
to
back
us or to the Womanica podcast. Maybe Womanica, maybe they've got something on Golda Meir. We have to check that out. The Golden Girls.
Tag them in that. Yeah.
We did a Wistful Wednesday on the Golden Girls. That was a great one, too. And people loved it. And they still, and lots of comments on that. This one, oh my God, love the Golden Girls. We had so many of those. Who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Now, let me tell you, this is where things get a little controversial because we get to the Elvis and the Priscilla's talk, right?
Let's go.
Whoo, we made some people mad. They got, at Stranger Holly said, that's such a lie. You should do research. I mean, we did kind of research it. And the fact that he was 24 and she was 14, that doesn't go away. Sorry. You know, so we got a lot of people that talked about that.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people.
That's pretty factual right there. That's pretty cut dry. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple more of that. Anita Wood said that she found many letters Priscilla wrote begging Elvis to take her to Graceland, which led to their breakup. Priscilla is no victim. She was after Elvis since day one. That's okay. But she's still 14.
Yeah.
A 14-year-old can be for whoever they want, but you don't have to reciprocate. That's the thing, right?
Right. Yeah. And I made sure to point out in that episode that Priscilla herself never wanted to claim the title of victim and wanted to make that clear. So I was making sure that I represented her aspect on that while also giving my opinions on what the movie showed and what her life was like. So
yeah.
It is what it is, right?
Now we talked about, here's somebody that answered a question for you because we had the 90s movie, the vampire movie. Mm-hmm. What was it called?
Interview with the Vampire.
Best vampire movie, set the stage for them all, and it had the best, hottest cast. And you said, I don't know what is a trifecta, I don't know what 4 would be called. At Press 10 P1N says a quafecta.
Okay, quafecta. I love that word. If I got a new puppy right now, I would name it quafecta.
I mean, right? Me too.
It's a great name.
Last comment, and then we're going to get to Feature Friday. This is Freqy Friday right now, and I'm going to bring this one up. I love it. Doesn't matter what clip this came from. I saw this across the board. And this comment right here is in all caps. You look great in that LA cap. Dodgers all the way. Absolutely. You know how popular, polarizing this hat is? Yeah. Because some people see this hat as pure winners and others see it as cheaters because they're paying so much money and this and that. I lived there for over 10 years. I got a right to wear this hat. Yeah. I was a Dodger fan from the beginning. I've got a picture 3 months old and I'm in a Dodger outfit, okay? So this isn't just a bandwagon because they started winning and they got all these great athletes on the team. But I had so many comments, and there's other people saying, oh, that hat is trash. No, it's not. No, it's not.
You're allowed to have your opinions.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. And we're going to do more of that. We'll do more Freqy Fridays every Friday. We might as well. Before we lead into Feature Friday. And Feature Friday today, man, we got a banger. We got one that crept up on me. It really did. I didn't even know about this movie. Honestly, I'm going to tell you something right now. When you put this on the docket, on the schedule queen Coco over here.
I get to sneak in my little ones in there, and I'm like, we're going to do this one on Feature Friday.
So you tell me, you're like, all right, this Last Showgirl is on Disney. I'm like, all right, cool. So I sit down, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm waiting to see Taylor Swift. Because she did something that had Showgirl in the title, and I believe it was, not the Last Showgirl. So I was already in for a big surprise when I saw Pamela Anderson and not Taylor Swift. And, you know, this movie, yes, that Pamela Anderson, by the way, the same one that we know for Baywatch, being a sex icon, she played into that too. She really did. And now she got to show her acting chops.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you put this on the docket. And yeah, she was in a
All
serious.
right.
On paper, seeing Pamela Anderson in a serious role is not going to be something that a lot of people gravitate towards. They don't think of her that way. But Gia Coppola, the director of this film, said, you know what? There's nobody better to play this role than her. And she was absolutely correct.
Yeah, and she started to really come back into my radar over the last couple of years because I started seeing her on interviews and going out and doing press circuit, but she was wearing no makeup. And for somebody who was, her image was built on looks. I mean, let's just be honest. She was a sex symbol from, what was that beach movie? Or that beach show?
Baywatch?
My brain just blank. It was out. Yeah, Baywatch, the 90s. Everybody remembers Pamela Anderson being it girl.
Oh, yeah.
For all of that. And, for her to come back into the scene, making some different choices, I like to say she came back in her goddess era. She is in the era of, I don't give a about what anybody else thinks. This is me. I'm showing it raw. I'm all in as myself.
Yeah.
I'm not performing for anybody. It's vulnerability. It's authenticity. I hate to say brave because I really hate it when people are like, oh, a woman dared to show her natural face. She's so brave. I'm like, forget that. I mean, think about it. How much time did you take to get ready to come on camera here today, Blane?
I got out of bed. This is what I would have sleep in. Like, I put the hat on. I'm here. This is my uniform. Yeah, it doesn't take much.
Yeah. Nobody's calling you brave. Or just like, that's just, it's just us showing up as we are. So yeah, she started coming onto my radar, and then I saw this movie and I thought, oh, I got to see this. It's so interesting to think about all of the dynamics of the aging woman, right? And how that is going to be perceived by audiences watching the movie, and also in the movie, the character herself, her friends, her coworkers, all of this dynamic of these young, new showgirls coming in and the show getting canceled that she'd been in for 30 years. I mean, there's just so much juicy human discussion to happen with all of these things. So what did you think watching it?
Deeply human is what this whole movie is. Let me set this thing up for you because, like I said, first impressions, not ever on my radar until you put it on. And I'll watch anything. That's not me, not thinking it's going to be awful. No. It's just not on my radar.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really on anybody's radar. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival back in 2024, got picked up by roadside attractions, and it quietly became one of those films people needed to talk about. There's a difference in needing to talk about a film and wanting to talk about. People needed to. It's not a blockbuster. It's not trying to be. It's intimate. It's raw. You've said it before, that you said it this week about Alien. Less is more. This is not a horror movie, but less is more definitely encapsulates what they're doing here. And that goes from everything to making the film, the shaky cameras, the graininess, the look of the actors, everything. It was raw. It was almost like, and they only filmed this in 18 days in Vegas on the spot.
Wow.
So it was raw and genuine. But it's Pamela Anderson playing a 57-year-old, as she says later at the end of the movie. I'm 57 and I'm beautiful, bitch, basically is what she said.
Yeah.
She's playing a 57-year-old showgirl in Las Vegas. So we're not just talking about ageism in women. We're talking about ageism in women in entertainment, which to me, after living in entertainment for so long, I have seen it. I have seen people age out of their demo or whatever you want to call it. And I'm sitting there thinking, but that's the same person. What's different? They're old.
Same skills, same qualities, same things to offer.
Yeah. And then Pamela Anderson, Shelley is who she plays, has pretty much an unstable life as it is. Like it's chaos. So to walk in And then with no fanfare, no thank you for your service is all it was. Here's the door. They canceled the show. Dave Bautista's character had to tell him. And Bautista crushed it too.
Oh, I know.
Man, I was not expecting.
I did not know the range that man had, and this movie showed it.
Dave Bautista as Eddie was just as powerful in this as a supplemental actor to elevate all the women in here. Pamela Anderson. Odie
Jamie Lee Curtis.
was Kierna Shipka. You got Annette, Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh my God. Billy Lord. Now I got to tell you something about Billy Lord. I guess I used to have a huge crush on Billy Lord. I loved her ever since, I guess it was American Horror Story. And I found out that she was, Carrie's daughter. She's Princess Leia's daughter. And that was even wilder.
Carrie Fisher, we could do a whole devotion to Carrie Fisher and I would be okay with it.
We might have to. Maybe we can get Billy Lord to come talk about her. That's a big one. We'll put that out there. We'll put that in the universe. If we can get Billy Lord right here, all it needs 2 minutes. We can have a great conversation in 2 minutes. We don't have to have much time, but I think she crushed it too. And once again, everybody looked raw. Even the acting was very raw.
Yeah, definitely set the ambiance. Like you said, kind of grainy and dark. The ambiance of a backstage of a Vegas show or any show, really. If you've ever been in theater, that dressing room, you could smell it.
Oh yeah.
I can smell the costumes. I can smell the sweat and the makeup and all of that, just from being in shows myself. So, 30 years of running the same show and putting themselves up to a certain quality of artistry that they recognize. And this is where I'm going to go back to Taylor Swift, because you mentioned it. There's some criticism there about using the showgirl image to sell albums, when really there's showgirls out there that is probably one of the most underpaid, underappreciated entertainment fields there is.
Yeah. And
I love that Shelley's character represents kind of almost a status quo, or there's a level of respect demanded to this profession that she adheres to.
Yeah.
And when the younger girls are like, oh, well, I'm going to, audition for these other shows. Since this show is closing, I want to find something else in Vegas. You can't blame them. But
no.
But some of the, the choreography that they're showing, Shelley's like, we don't do that. We're not just some smut show. Like, she kind of criticizes them, even though she spent a Vegas showgirl for this whole time, topless.
Yeah.
For a lot of, parts in the show. But she holds herself to this other moral standard, which is interesting to think about, because as somebody, I've seen really well done burlesque shows in my past. And there is a difference in the level of artistry and the commitment and the work that goes into it versus maybe a stripper show.
Yeah. And that's what she's kind of, when they do the choreography in front of her, that's what she's thinking. That's what Pam Anderson is thinking is, oh my God, this is stripper. This is classless to her. Yeah. Because showgirl is class. And then you go low end and it's going to be hedonistic paradise or whatever the performance that they go out for. I'm going to tell you a little Easter egg here too. In that scene when they're talking about hedonistic paradise and they're talking about doing a choreography, Pam Anderson says something. She says basically that jumping on a pole and getting sprayed down with water is trash. It's classless. She says that. Go back to Barbed Wire, one of her first movies, and what is she doing? She's on a pole getting sprayed down with water doing a strip scene. So she kind of got to go full circle in just the Pam Anderson universe and say, that was class. That was trashy.
I love that for her, because I feel like that's not just Shelley. I feel like that's Pamela Anderson.
We saw Pam Anderson.
I mean, just to say like a big middle finger to the industry in how she was treated and how she's been perceived. And again, let's go back to that aging woman question, because there was some debate as I'm looking and researching Reddit discussions about this movie. And I love the debate. I love when people are coming together and going, now, is this cruel? Is this movie actually cruel, or is it sympathetic? Because I think there's some argument to both in showing it this way. But my take on it, when showing kind of the struggle that Shelley is going through, this is no different than I'm sure every single woman has had to confront these exact issues in any aspect of their life. And I will put it in terms that, in mythological terms, we have the archetype of the maiden, we have the archetype of the mother, and we have the archetype of the crone, right? In entertainment, which is just a snapshot of a larger society, you have like, if you're a maiden, you're young, you're innocent, you're untouched, virgin, if you will.
Yeah.
And you're still so sexually pleasing and aesthetic to look at and all of these things. So your value is determined based on that. Then you move into mother. And that doesn't mean you have to be a mother. That just means you've moved into a nurturing type of archetype in your life. And now your value is seen as, what can you do for people? How can you serve people? How can you feed people and birth people and serve everyone? And then you get into the crone, and a lot of society just believes the crone is of no value at all. Like, I'm no longer wanting to date you, for lack of a more vulgar term. I no longer see you as useful in birthing babies and taking care of and nurturing people. So now you're just old. And now what? And this movie kind of highlights that. It's like, is this how we've been treating women? She has this whole identity crisis when this show that she's been useful at for 30 years, this is where her use and her value has been, her energy has been put into. Yep. And now she's like, now what?
And that's
who am I now?
And that's it. This movie's not just about Vegas showgirls. It's sure for women, but men can take something from this too. Everybody can take something, because if you've ever poured your heart into something, a career, a relationship, an identity, and then had to reckon with what's left when it's over, you've been here. You've felt what Pamela Anderson, Shelley, has felt. Her performance, I got to tell you, like, I'm being honest, I didn't fully understand what she was capable of as an actress. Yeah. And maybe age did help her out, because we knew her as the Baywatch icon, like we said, the sex symbol, the tabloid fixture. And listen, no shade to any of that. She owned it. She lived it. She became a cultural phenomenon. But in The Last Showgirl, she did something completely different and blew me away. There's no armor here. There's no persona. She's just there. She's present. Vulnerable, tired, scared, hopeful even. Which, how do you be hopeful when all that's going on? And you can see it in her eyes the entire time. There's a weight there. A lived-in quality for Pam herself that you can't fake. And that's what makes it so powerful is, she had been, and I'm talking about Pam Anderson in general, and the character Shelley, they've been objectified, commodified, celebrated, and discarded by the culture more times than most people could survive. And that's what comes out. That's it's not just great acting. She's being herself on the screen. She got a Golden Globe nomination for this, I think. I don't know if she won it. She
well
should have.
Deserved.
Yeah.
Should have. But, well deserved. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, we can't forget this her character representing kind of what happens if you age out and physically can't serve in that way anymore. I mean, who knows? But it kind of represents the phasing of what happens when you do age out of this showgirl role or this job. Shelley was able to hold it together and stay in it for as long as she did. Her friend wasn't so lucky, right? Her friend was like, I can't keep doing the show anymore. So the best I have to offer is flirting with guys who are gambling while I serve them drinks in this kind of bellhop outfit.
Yeah.
And hope that I can still make ends meet, right? Find
As
my
a
place in society.
as a guy slides a chip into her cleavage, her very busty cleavage, might I add, for Jamie Lee Curtis. You know, that let's just be real. Like
Those
shit,
bodysuits doing their work, right?
big time, big time. But go into the aging and the relevance of identity, because when you're a showgirl that started in your 20s and you're in your 50s now, 30 years, that's not a job anymore. That is her identity.
Yeah.
And when the show closes, she's forced to confront the terrifying question, who am I without this?
Yeah.
That's a question that a lot of us get scared of.
We
Because
have to confront that question many times in our lives. I had that exact situation. I'm sure many men and women can relate, but when I was a young teacher and I was the maiden, which we are all of those three things, by the way. I just want to close that up in we're not one or the other. We are all the time. But I was going out of my maiden era, and then my first son was born, and I quit teaching to stay at home and take care of him. I did not expect the identity crisis that I would have, where I was like, I was a teacher, now I'm mom. And it just blew me out of the water. I spent years trying to figure out, what does that mean? What does that mean for me? How do I fit into this new role? And does that mean I'm not that anymore?
yeah,
We all have moments like that we have to confront. And by the way, I think Shelley, I think we're seeing that she sees herself as an artist. She saw what she did as her art, her passion. And she was very proud of that and put a lot of her identity on that. But I love seeing the dynamic of her and her daughter being kind of estranged, and the daughter having some resentments about, you chose this over me. You couldn't parent me and be my mother because you were doing this show every night. And I think that I want to bring up, there's a book called The Mother Artist by Catherine Ricketts. If anyone ever wants to read that, it's fascinating because it talks about how few artists in any way, shape, or form, any kind of artists, how few of them are mothers. And the reason why is because men can go off and have as many babies as they want, have as many children as they want, and then follow their passion as an artist. And we as a society have allowed that to be just the norm.
yeah,
But when a mother becomes a mother, being an artist at the same time is almost impossible. We are made to choose, right?
yeah.
And this movie shows that so well because she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't.
And
Either way.
she hits that breaking point where she's like, I can't defend myself anymore. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you feel for her.
You do. This whole movie's a tough watch. It really is. It makes you uncomfortable. It makes you think inward. Like what do I do after fill in the blank, whatever you're doing now? Because whatever you're doing now will end at some point. It really does. I love this movie too because it didn't give you all the answers. You're kind of doing this in real time with Shelley, with Pam Anderson. And even in the end, you don't get the answers. You don't see, we only assume that Eddie's the father of Hannah, right? Mm-hmm. But they're sitting next to each other at the very end, but we don't get that closure. We don't get the closure to find out what happened to Shelley. What did she do after? She gets that final moment in the light, beaming in the light, and that's it. Yeah. But is that a happy ending, or is that just like, oh, I feel sad for her? Yeah.
And it just brings up the point that there is no such thing as that arrival. Like we all want to be that perfectly healed, perfectly satisfied version of ourselves where, okay, I've arrived. I've gotten to where I wanted to be. I am who I want to be. And there we are. It's never going to happen like that. And expecting it to would leave us incredibly disappointed and unfulfilled. But to be like, okay, this is the ending of something. It's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. Just like her choosing her art over her child or with her child, or how she, decided to do that. you can have all the judgment you want about it, but in the end, there's no right or wrong. There's just us doing our best.
And let's talk about one more character in this movie that made the movie what it is. And I'm talking about Las Vegas. Because
Yep.
in this movie, Las Vegas is not just a setting, it's a character.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about Vegas for just a minute and what we think it is. It's a spectacle, illusion, reinvention, shiny, bright, all this stuff, right? We don't see that in this movie. All the scenes are like daytime Vegas, dirty, what it really looks like. It is. And then you see the dirt and the dust almost in the air. Like you can feel it. And you see these basically changing rooms that are frozen in time. And it's not the glamorous Vegas that we're used to seeing. And that's what makes it its own character. Because without it, I don't think you can set this anywhere else. And for Vegas, a lot of people, it's an escape. Not for these people, it's a trap. They're trapped in Vegas. That's Eddie says he's never leaving. He's never leaving that theater. That to me is kind of depressing. It's kind of sad that you're not ever going to get out of there. And Vegas, here's the thing too, it doesn't care about your legacy. It doesn't care about Shelley. It doesn't care about La Razzle Dazzle. It cares about what it can make money on right now.
Yeah.
And it shows that.
You feel that.
Yeah,
You
it's not
feel
friendly.
that when you go visit. You and I have been living in this Western United States for a long time, and I've driven through, stayed at, hung out in Vegas more times than I can count on two. I even went to a couple years of teacher conferences in Vegas, which if you want to party hard, do it with the teachers. I was surprised as anybody, as I was like, we're staying out till 2 a.m. before we have to get up in the morning and go to a conference. Okay, I don't know what's happening.
I bet that got wild.
You see the front of Vegas and you see the flashiness and almost, in the last several years, more high end, more luxurious than it was, I think, previously.
Yeah,
and I saw a documentary recently that was about Vegas being the temperature gauge or the barometer of our economy, in that if Vegas is cheap and it's for the masses, then, the economy is booming. But, in recent years, it has shown to be less and less affordable for the lower income demographic, but it's more and more catered to high rollers, people with money. Yeah. The attractions are not free anymore. Like you remember when you were a kid, it's like now everything is more, everything has a high price. I think that's really fascinating. And yeah, I'm sure those performers, those waitresses serving drinks, the dealers, the valets, they're the ones behind the scenes making it all work. Are they making good money, or are they kind of left in the dust?
And Vegas is pretty dried up right now from what I can gather.
Yeah, so, less and less tourists, because guess what? The average folks like you and me can't afford it anymore.
Yeah. I used to walk
into cheap hotel rooms anymore.
Exactly. I was going to say, I used to be able to walk into casinos, play a couple of hands of blackjack, and ask for a room comp. And they'd be like, sure, how long you want to stay? I bet that don't happen no more.
No.
I love this movie because it's got a melancholic glow to it. You get to see, like I said, the dirty side. You get to see the empty casino floors at 4 a.m. or whatever it is. And that's what it's really like. It's not always glitz and glamour, just like the life of a showgirl wouldn't be. And Gia Coppola, she crushed it. She nailed it. This whole movie. She got the feel right. She got everything about this movie right. I got to talk about Gia Coppola real quick because her family tree is crazy.
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola, grandparent. You got Jason Schwartzman as a cousin. Let me see Nicolas Cage is a cousin. It just keeps going on. This whole family. Sofia Coppola, of course, she's related. Crazy that there's so much talent in it.
Movies in one family.
Yeah, but what's your final thoughts on The Last Showgirl?
Just go watch it.
Yeah.
If you're watching this and haven't seen it, I hope we've talked you into it. It's worth the watch. And I would just love to hear your stories again in the comments about how this related to your life. Like I saw myself in Shelley a bunch of times. And I'm not a showgirl.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. But I'd like to hear your stories. How did it relate to you?
You'd make a great showgirl. I could see you with the big hat.
I could do it.
The big feathers. I bet that's painful. I've had one of. I've put one of those on before.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
It's like 20 pounds on your head.
Yes, it's talent for sure. You got to have the talent for it.
We should get you an audition to be a showgirl and see how that goes. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe for the freaks out there, if they want to see that, maybe me and you both could go out.
It would probably go a lot like Lucille Ball when she tried to do her stint as a. Do you remember that? She couldn't keep it on her head.
Hilarious. Exactly. Let me bring this thing home for us, though, because The Last Showgirl is a small film, but it's got a big heart. I'm going to tell you, though, it's not for everybody. If you're looking for fast pacing, action, tidy resolutions, this probably is not going to be your vibe. But if you want something that's going to sit with you, something that's going to make you think about your own life and the choices you've made, then I hope, like Coco said, that we've talked you into going and watching this movie. On top of all of that, you get one of the best performances, a career best for Pamela Anderson, and just a best performance overall. One of the best from her. So you got to go watch this thing. It's not going to make you feel happy, I can tell you that. But not all movies have to. And that's why we like to dig into movies like The Last Showgirl right here on Parallel Frequencies. So just Blane and Coco, Parallel Frequencies. We'll see you on the other side.